Welcome to the Nehemiah Entrepreneurship Community Podcast. I'm your host, Patrice Sage, and I'm here with my good friend from Kenya, Nairobi, Brother Ronnie, and my dear sister, Chidi. Did I say it right?
Right.
Yes, I did. Well, guys, you are going to love today's episode because this couple are innovators. So today we're going to talk about food innovation in Africa. When I first met this couple, I was impressed. I was so impressed that while I was in, what's that country I was in? In the DRC, was that no, not Gabon. Congo. Sorry, when I was in Congo, I got inspired by this idea of innovative kind of fast food kind of thing around Africa. I called Ronnie. I said, man, let's do this. And Ronnie, that dream has not died because it's going to be part of the e-community distribution. So I want you to meet Ronnie because Ronnie is going to be our chief chef when we deploy the e-community cafes around Africa. It'll be Ronnie. It'll be a good friend out of Malaysia and some number of them. But anyway, guys, welcome to the podcast. Well, you know, Ronnie and Chidi, you guys have been through an incredible journey as entrepreneurs. You're going through even one right now, given the situation with COVID-19. But before we get into the meat of food innovation, you both are from the continent, from two different countries, but you both met in England, both studied in England. So let's first talk about the dynamic of two Africans from different parts of Africa. One is Nigerian, one is Kenyan. And how that works in going together. What are the opportunities that comes with that, and what are the challenges? A power couple from Africa.
Power couple.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Yeah. Okay. So first things first, Patrice. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I think it's great to speak about the business and any opportunity we have. We're always like, somebody could be listening to us, hearing us, or could be in a place where they're looking at an opportunity that either they're married to someone and they're wondering maybe we could start a business together, or I have an opportunity to do something. So thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a great ask of you and your team. So Chidi and I met in Kenya. So we didn't meet in the UK.
So what was she doing in Kenya? I'm curious.
So she was born here.
I was actually born here. My parents moved here. My parents moved here over 40 years ago.
Wow.
So I was born and raised here. So I'm very much into the Kenyan culture. The Nigerian part is still strong, but I am
not
very
the
much
Nigerian, always a Nigerian, but you got that Kenyan in you as well.
Yes.
That is neat.
So I think that makes it a bit easier because I'm mellow. I'm a mellow Nigerian.
I love it. So Ronnie, is she more Kenyan or more Nigerian? Or does it depend on the day?
Yeah, she's definitely more Kenyan. I'd say 70-30.
The Nigerian is situational. The Nigerian part in situations.
I love it. But Nigerians have a great business mind. What tribe is your family from in Nigeria?
We're Igbos.
Oh my God.
We're the business people.
You married smart, Ronnie. You married smart.
Yes,
So I'm distant with culture a little bit. Has that come into play? I mean, what's the business tribe in Kenya?
Kikuyus.
Is Ronnie Kikuyu by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. Africa
So
is
we
over.
are a power couple.
It is. Whoa, wait a minute. It's like a Jew and a Chinese coming together.
Totally.
That's right.
Oh my Lord.
I mean, for us, I mean, Nigerians love food. We celebrate around food a lot, so it has an important part in my heart. So when we're making food, we have passion that goes into it. It's not just taste; there's love and there's commitment in it. So I think that comes out in food.
Yeah.
I mean, even when we go out to eat, I'll taste every little bit first to approve of it before I can have my meal. So it is a big deal.
And Ronnie, I stopped you there. I'm gonna come back to you. But so the food passion doesn't just come from Ronnie.
I love to eat.
Oh, you love? I love it. You love to eat.
That's the passion.
I love it.
I love to eat.
So Ronnie, you were saying, so the plus and minus of this diversity, though you kind of cheated. You married a Nigerian born in Kenya, but it's still
yeah. So at the time we were dating, I got an opportunity to travel to the UK to specialize in pastry. I had just finished my culinary diploma in Kenya, and I felt, my dad was pressurizing me. You need to look at pastry. It's more lucrative. It's better paying. There's big opportunities. And any chef would, fears pastry because it has a lot of specifics in terms of execution. A cook just throws in a lot of mixed ingredients, and you can get a very a very elaborate dish. But for a pastry chef, there's a lot of measuring and getting things right. It's not just to put things in place. So that took me to the UK. I worked with a lot of French chefs, worked in prestigious restaurants, including one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants in London. So just I looked for an opportunity and found it, and went from strength to strength. Chidi joined me in the UK. I think 3 months later, she had an opportunity to work for a Montessori school. So she's a teacher. And that's how we reconnected back in the UK. So she was somewhere up in the Midlands. I was in London at the time.
And did you guys get married in London then?
No, we came home.
Yeah.
We came back, got married, had a very, very big wedding. And then we went back.
Yeah. I noticed you said very and then very. What does that mean?
Very, very, very. The count for the caterer was 1,200.
Oh my Lord, that's a big wedding. Now,
Yes.
who was it? The parents and whose parents or was it you guys? I mean, who drove that big of a wedding?
Yeah,
His side.
Yeah, the parents were fully behind it, and I think the fact that it was the first wedding, on both sides, but also for us, it was something that they were, I guess, excited about and just wanted to, go all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Chidi, did many folks come from Nigeria itself, or was it mainly 1,000 of his family?
It was 1,200 of mine. We have a big Nigerian community in Kenya, so obviously the invite was given to all of them. I had some uncles come from Nigeria as well, so we had a number. There were several girlies in the room.
Wow. So let's talk about, now you both get married and you both decide to go into business. So talk about how the gastronome now gets created.
Right.
Okay, you want to go?
Okay, so we're back in the UK, and I mean, life out there is hard. It's a rat race. You're making the money, you pay your taxes, and then there's nothing left. So we always said that we were going to come home and start up something. And Ron,
we're having audio issues with Ronnie and Chidi. If you're watching us live on Facebook, they're going to be back in a few minutes. What an incredible story! Powerful. So Chidi, you were saying, so yeah, you were saying, so the life was tough in England and you decided to come back home.
Yeah, so we said that we were going to give ourselves some time and then come back home. So we had a notebook that we had written all the things that we were going to do when we get back. We wrote that we were going to start a nursery school.
Wow.
We were going to start a restaurant.
Yeah.
So those were the two really big things. And then Ronnie at that time was working for a contract catering company in a small village in the UK. So he had learned quite a bit. He had a boss who was very big on do it yourself, figure it out.
Yeah.
So he had a lot of experience in a very short time. And he was like, you know what, we can do this in Kenya. I'm sure that we can apply this skill in Kenya. I'm a chef. There's already an advantage with me being a chef as well as doing this. So I said, okay, yes, that's fine. I guess we will do it. And 2 weeks later, 2 weeks from that conversation, he handed in his resignation.
Wow. Now, you sound like you were surprised by how quickly he did it.
I was totally thrown off. I mean, I'm a planner. So I wanted it to be, yes, we'll do it. So in this month and in this month and in this month. But it was 2 weeks from the conversation. He handed in his notice. Another maybe 3 weeks, he was on a plane back home.
So Ronnie, what were you thinking?
So I think at that point, I was I think a year away from getting my British citizenship. Chidi and our first son were already British at the time. She was expecting our second son. So she's looking at me like, are you nuts? Like, is this the point? Call it timing, getting your timing wrong. So I think at that time I was really fed up of just the hassle of being in the UK. You know, you're really never having enough. It's always going to, you know, taxes, or you're literally living from hand to mouth. And I was like, fine. I mean, where I am now, I think I've worked in several bakeries, restaurants, hotels, catering institutions. I felt at the time I have what it takes to come back home and just start, you know, our own thing. Now, prior to that, Mom had said, you know, Dad, you're the only son in our family. You're the heir of this man. There's opportunities for you to come on board. You know, Dad is a stockbroker, a very successful stockbroker. And, you know, she's like, come on board and learn this thing, and maybe you could be the one leading this company. So that was, I think, number 3 on our list.
Wow.
So I'm already having in my mind that there's something I'm coming to while we start this school thing. I mean, the restaurant thing. So yeah, so get on a plane. You know, it was the hardest goodbye I think you can give a young mom, a young family. You know, we had to put our things in shipment to come to Kenya, and I left her with all that to do. So came to Kenya. I go to Dad, I think 2 days after I come, and I'm like, yeah, Dad, I'm here.
Let's start.
Where do I start? And the guy says, unfortunately, we cannot put our eggs in one basket. You have to find what you can do, and we will support you until you get your feet going.
I know you're thinking, could you have told me that before I got on the plane?
Exactly. So that was it was a bittersweet moment, because what he did to me was he made me realize that we can actually begin something else on our own with their support, but also we can begin to create another opportunity. I always think if I didn't take up that advice from him and just probably, you know, nag him and say, no, let me just start off here, I don't think Gastronome would be what it is today.
Ronnie, you bring some good points. First of all, it's interesting, Chidi, a bad timing runs in the family.
I tell you.
Like father like son, right?
Like father like son.
But you know, that brings me to a point. There's a number, you refuse to settle for existence in the West. So that you can thrive in your own country where you have more upside opportunity. Let's talk about that. And by the way, let me just give my viewers a heads up. This is going to be a multi-show, guys. Can you guys come back, because we haven't touched my second question yet. And we just
Sure.
So we're going to just go to the time runs out, and then I'm going to have you guys back.
Okay.
But let's talk about that, because there are many people who are watching this podcast who are either in Africa. And by the way, if you have questions or comments for Ronnie and Chidi, you know, post it up. I'll share it with them. And whose family members cannot make that decision you made. Let's talk about that a little bit, because right now, because we're dealing with a COVID-19 virus right now.
Yeah.
And Africa is the last and least to be affected by it.
Yeah.
Is the safest place right now in the land. And they're saying it will be the next territory. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be, because there are African great minds who can be doing things right now to make sure that it doesn't happen. But some of those minds are in the West. They are in England. They're in America. They are in Germany or whatever. So let's talk about that a little bit, because the psychology of that, Ronnie, what made you make that decision? And well, before we get to that, Chidi, though you like shocked that this guy had the nerves, but somehow you came with him, somehow you supported him. You're still married today. You're still smiling. So how then did you come around?
It was hard. It was really, really hard. But I'd been with him for quite a while by then. And I knew that he never gives up. He gets a dream and he will keep at it until he succeeds in it. So as much as I was scared that, okay, this is going to be really hard. I was pregnant. He left me with a 1-year-old. I knew that we would fall on our feet, that he would never let us crash and fall.
You believe in your man.
I believed in him 100%. Because when he gets an itch, he follows through without a shadow of a doubt. But I also knew that if I didn't support him, then I would be destroying that dream. So I just went for it.
How important was that, what she just said? Because many entrepreneurs, that's like oxygen. How important was that for you?
I think it was you know, if I didn't feel she was supportive of me making a decision to come to Kenya, I don't think I would have resigned.
So you instantly kind of had a sense that my wife, you believed in her ability to believe in you.
Yeah. Also because we had sort of talked about it, but not talked about it. We had conversations around it, and from what I gathered instinctively, it was something that she would support.
Yeah.
Wow. How important? Let's talk, because for couples, so there's this undercurrent. This non-verbal communication that you guys had going that many couples lack, and it brings about hardship and difficulty in marriage. How did you guys develop that? I mean, when you look back, hindsight, what are the things, the trials or the intentional things or the tests that help you guys kind of develop that kind of what I call, this kind of marital sage, that kind of innuendo wisdom that when you look back, how did that come about?
I think that was trial and error. We fought. We fought like cats and dogs. But also the fact that I think we're able to talk to each other, even in the heated arguments that we might have. At the end of the day, we have to come to an agreement. Either, okay, fine, let's choose to disagree for now, but we have to come to a place where I get where he's coming from and he gets where I'm coming from. It's not been easy. I mean, we've been married 13 years this year, and I think we're just cracking it. But giving each other a space to dream and to talk about that dream, I think has helped.
And Chidi, you know, Africa, historically, women don't have a voice or have little voice.
Yeah.
So, our fathers, for them, it was the men's show.
Yeah.
That's the culture that you're in. He says you respect each other's dream. Well, the woman is not supposed to dream in Africa.
Yeah.
So how have you guys been able to rise above that culture stuff to be able to come to this place where there's this mutual understanding and respect?
I think for me, what I see is, so moving back, I wanted Chidi to sort of find her sweet spot, if I can use that phrase.
Yeah.
But because her status in Kenya is, you know, she's a dependent. She's a Nigerian who is a dependent of a Kenyan, and in the process of getting her citizenship, she couldn't get a job. You know, so it needed her to find a school that would pay a permit for her to work. And on several, I guess, instances or interviews, that didn't come out successful. So it got to a point where it was, I better join Ronnie and make this thing work, or cooked as a goose. So I think it was more of necessity to conform rather than fighting what's already in motion.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that the Lord does that to us? He kind of shuts the doors to direct us to what he really wants. He is so smart. He makes things a little difficult. When we think that he's blocking it, is because he's trying to get us to do what he wants to do in the first place. You have to get a lot of comments. Here's what Zaman has said to God be the glory. Now, Zaman is a biblical entrepreneur from Canada, originally born in Congo. She said, believe in yourself, the fight, despite what the conditions are, support from your family at 100%. God is good. She just loved the fact you guys have come together. Lucy said, well done to the two of you. You guys know who Lucy is?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Lucy is probably
is one of our friends.
Yeah. So you're getting a number of people here. So you come back home. Dad says, son, I'm sorry, but plans have changed. But you took it well. I mean, I like the way you processed.
He did.
Let's talk a bit about that. What was it that made you not say, Dad, really?
Yeah, I think we're very close. We're a very close family, and I think Dad is one of those who is very. He loves the best option. You know, he's very well thought out. He's very smart, and I think also just from experience, he wouldn't call out something in bad faith.
Yeah.
So I trusted.
Wow. We're having tech issues here, but guys, this is an incredible story. I mean, a couple from Africa, the continent, who really are talking through how they step out. So go ahead. I was kind of giving a sense of some of what you're saying. So you seem to have also, just as your wife trusted in you, you seem to trust in your dad.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow,
100%.
Daddy, if you're listening, you've done well with this son.
Yeah. So it's later on when I began to reflect on the decision that or the conversation that we had of him saying, you know what, you go do your thing. we'll support you wherever you need support, but we don't want to put our eggs in one basket, and let's grow, let's spread the risk. Yeah. I think is what he was saying.
I mean, that's pragmatic. He's thinking legacy. He's thinking strategically, not emotional.
No.
I mean, that's a good dad. Now, but then you guys made a choice to go into a space called gastronomy. I don't even know what the word means. All right. There's probably not even a Kenyan word for that. But before we get to that word, so when Dad says that, and you decide to go into this, what exactly is gastronome? So tell us about why that word and what does that company do?
Right.
Okay. So the gastronome comes from the word gastronomy. And what gastronomy is, it's the study of food and culture. So it just sort of marries food and culture together. So we used to be called Karina Caterers. And I remember one time doing an event for Toyota, and with the event planners, the lady in the room asked, "Who is Karina Caterers? Like, what name is that?"
What is that?
So I came back home and told Chidi, I think we need to change this name because it was created from a point of necessity. We need a business trading name. Karina is Dad's name, my son name, and a name that I'm known by, and we're caterers. So, not very original, but it worked. So we came back home and started thinking about, what are the names that we can think of or create for the primary reason of making the business scalable. And at that point,
this was before biblical entrepreneurship. You had done you already thinking like how we think, man. Kudos.
Yeah. So we thought of names. I can't even remember what are the names we thought about. And then gastronome came about because I had done gastronomy in uni. So gastronome also means when you're serving food, say on a buffet or a buffet, there are those dishes where food is put and kept hot. So the dishes that are used are also called gastronomes. And we just thought, we could marry food and culture, but also create some magic in that dish where your food is being served.
Wow. I love it. Here's what Rena says. She's been part of your story. You know who Rena is?
Yeah,
Rena is my sister, actually.
Oh my goodness. And it still inspires us so much. Who's older, you or Rena?
Rena is older.
Wow, Rena, you've done well. She spanked you when you were a kid, and you turned out well. Love it. So did you realize how innovative this idea was when you came up with it?
I don't think we knew just how innovative we were being. We needed a name that sounded good. And the thing that caught us about the gastronome was I think we talked about we could be in the supermarkets with the gastronome ketchup and the gastronome potato chips and the gastronome chicken wings and things like that. So that's one of the things that made it sound like a really good name. I don't think we were thinking innovation at that point. We were at the point of just surviving.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Oftentimes, innovation does come out of survival, and I think that's why I think the continent, Africa, Kenya, wherever you are around Africa, is really a sea of innovation. But very few people though go from having that conversation with their wives and actually making it happen. Because for many people it remains talk. There's a lot of copycatters. So let's talk about that. So, why doesn't more of this happen, Ronnie and Chidi? Why are more people gastronomy?
It's hard, Patrice. I think that's what makes discourages a lot of people. Going into business is painful. It's you lose a lot of sleep. It's easier to have a job and get a paycheck at the end of the day. rather than to not know what you're going to be eating tomorrow. So I think that's what discourages people a lot. Also, I guess also not having a plan, because we had this plan for a very long time. So we were able to dream it a bit more. We were able to understand what we want and what we don't want. But a lot of people, I think, sometimes just wake up and say, I'm done with having a boss. I'm going to do my own business. And then they go and copy what their neighbor is doing without really thinking it through and understanding what are the pros and cons of choosing this business. Wow. So maybe that's what discourages people quite a bit.
Yeah, also for me, I'd say the lack of community that cheers you on. Whether it's a mentor, a parent who has gone before you, somebody in the industry, like who's that? Who are you? Who's your community? And when you present a certain idea, are they cheering you? Are they cheering you on, or are they bashing you down?
Yeah.
Are they making you doubt yourself, or are they saying, go on? I think that's a great idea, or tweak this, tweak that. So I think also fear is a big hindrance to many businesses within Africa, because you think, I have this great idea that I've thought out in my mind, but I'm almost embarrassed to bring it out because I think it's not good enough. So I think fear, also maybe financial institutions sometimes create also that second guessing or caveat, where you have to attain a certain threshold to qualify for funding and things like that. Yeah.
Wow. And this is why the Nima Project, with our mission to build kingdom globally, are very committed to the continent. Yeah. In Kenya, we have Frank, who's our leader there, and we're just impressed by the great job he's doing by being very intentional and bringing these solutions to entrepreneurs. And we're excited to let folks know that we just recently provided the first loan, not big, $15,000. And because we want to come against the things you bring up and mention. But then something else, though, Ronnie, is resilience. I mean, your wife says that you're resilient, and I think that piece, no one can give to you. You've got to develop it. It's not a pill you take. What have made you so resilient?
I don't know. I think, so like I shared in my, in the presentation we did on the BE graduation, is I failed in my O levels, and failing in my O levels was like the if anything has gone wrong for me, that went wrong. So in biblical terms, we call it the wilderness. That was a dark time for me.
Wow.
And having a conversation with mom, and her saying 4 years later that you will not be able to get a university or move on from this point until you resit your exams. So me resitting my exams 4 years later was just like the most ridiculous thing to do. I'm going back to a school where I was actually the head boy. Wow. So I'm going to sit exams with 4 years later. So these guys were probably in Form 1, which is the first year of high school.
Wow.
And you'd be punishing them.
And I'd be punishing them or, doing all sorts of stuff to them. And now I'm sitting with them doing exams. So, it was just such a humiliating space for me, but it actually created a lot of energy, a lot of resilience to then see that I can actually do this thing. And also redoing it, passing those exams, just, took me to another level where I actually felt, there's a way that you can actually redo something and do it right and begin again. And since then, there's just been some energy that I've had that, I'm actually good enough. Like I can actually put in effort on something and actually make it work.
Wow. What an incredible story. We out of our time, guys, but I mean, I am moved. First of all, Ronnie, when you get home today, call your parents And just to thank you, because the power, two things. One, a wife who is supportive. That, and I love what you said, Chidi, that it didn't just happen. You guys fought like cats and dogs, but you pressed through. Resilience. You pressed through. And that shaped you guys to be a couple that were wired together, blends you guys together. I often talk to couples about the two shall become one. That surgery of becoming one is a painful one. And you went through that, right? And then a father who did not want to protect his son in the short term and destroy him in the long term, made a decision that seemed like, I'm left out there. But then he said, we're here for you.
Yeah.
And then a mother, even before you, Chidi, the first woman in his life, would say, boy, you're going to go back. You follow me? We need more of those mothers. You're going to go back. I don't care what you say. I don't care how grown you think you are. Mom, I'm going to go back to that. Yes, you are. Otherwise, you're not going forward. And that created a springboard for resilience. In other words, success is not made today. It was made yesterday. And it just manifested today. Chidi, Ronnie, there are many people who listen to this podcast and they're encouraged by your story, and they're going to be back. We're going to have a few more talks with them. They're encouraged by your story, and they just want some advice. All right, I want you to do two things. Give them advice in terms of, as a, they may be where you guys were once and they're struggling. And what would you say to them? And secondly, COVID-19. We haven't gotten to COVID-19 with you guys. We'll get to it. You know, they're trying to survive. And Chidi, you said it right. It is hard, and even harder now. What word of encouragement would you give them? Let's start with you, Chidi. First, marital, and second, business.
Believe in each other, I think, is the one that would be my parting shot. Believe in each other's dreams. Don't be afraid to talk to each other about what can work and what cannot work. You're bringing the same thing to the table. At the end of the day, you want to win. You're one unit, you want to win. So believe in each other, listen to each other, and understand. I'm not saying that you can't disagree, because God knows we have disagreed a lot. But then as long as you remember that you're on the same team, you will go far. You will go far. And don't give up. Don't give up.
Yeah, I think for me, maybe for business, what's in your hand? Like, what do you have that God can use to do more? Because I think we most times we don't think what we have is good enough. I say what you have is absolutely amazing, and it can do so much than enough. And then secondly is, like I said, I think to you, Patrice, when we spoke at one point, is it's not what you create, it's that you create. So just do it, just create, just get off your seat and do it. It doesn't matter whether it's small, it doesn't matter whether it doesn't taste right, you've done something. So just do it. That's what I'd say.
Wow, you guys have some fans. Let me tell you a bit of what some of your fans are saying. When Ichik would say, we love gastronomy. You know, Frank said, what? Talking about you, Ron. About the Karina Caterers.
Right.
Zamina said, business trading name for making a business scalable. She said Warren Buffett. Wow. So we may be watching. Now, when y'all get big and famous and rich in Africa, don't forget little me, all right?
Never.
When I call, may your secretary answer the phone. And then, but I love this one. Frank said, an amazing story, surviving the wilderness, a great family invention at a critical time. Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then Rita said, just create. Awesome. Guys, thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being transparent and being honest. You've helped me. You've helped a lot of people. Would you guys mind coming back?
Not at all.
We're going to schedule it. I want to pick up. I'm going to talk about how now does Gastronome gets launched, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into food innovation. Why in the world do you believe Africa is ready for Gastronome, right? And then we're going to talk about how you're navigating COVID-19. Guys, when you hear that back, you want to watch it. Listen, by the way, how do somebody watching this podcast, they want to connect with you personally, with your business. They want to order catering. They want to be Gastronome. Where do they go?
Yeah, so they can go. So we have a page on Facebook called the Gastronome KE. We also have an Instagram page called the Gastronome KE, and also Twitter. But also we have a number that, you know, if they want to WhatsApp us or send us a message, it's 0700 780 329. That's 0700 780 329. You can just drop us a message, or we'll get back to you. If you're asking about anything, we'll just WhatsApp. We'll chat you.
Awesome. Well, for those watching this through podcasts or through YouTube or any other Facebook channel, post the live meeting. You can always reach out to our office if you need to get in touch with them. We'll connect you with them and make sure that you able to connect with them. If you're in Kenya, you don't need to go anywhere else. These are your caterers that bring you staff, class, and also the anointing of the buffet. And so, well, I hope you enjoyed our podcast today. If you want to know more about us and how we can come alongside you, help you through training, coaching, and access to capital, and be a part of this community so that we can transform the world together, visit us at NehemiahEcommunity.com, NehemiahEcommunity.com, and we can come alongside you and connect with you and help you to take your business to the next level. Here's my prayer for you. May the Lord bless you. And may He give you the grace to run your business and your life in such a way that one day you can hear those wonderful words, well done, good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a few things. He'll make you rule over much. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you guys.